This is Tom Fox. I'd like to welcome you to the newest addition to the Compliance Podcast Network, the Compliance Tip of the Day. This is the podcast where you bring you daily insights and practical advice on navigating the ever-evolving landscape of compliance requirements. Whether you're a seasoned compliance professional or just starting your journey, my aim in this podcast is to provide you with a bite-sized, actionable tip to help you stay on top of your compliance game. Join us as we explore the latest trends from the Department of Justice, share some best practices, demystify complex compliance issues to help keep your organization doing business ethically and in compliance, and at the end of the day, more profitably. Tune in daily for your dose of compliance wisdom. Let's make compliance a little less daunting, one tip at a time. Now a word from the sponsor of the Compliance Podcast Network, Ethico.
In compliance, the value of anonymous reporting is undeniable. But with Ethico, anonymity doesn't mean a loss of connection. Our blinded, two-way communication fosters an environment of trust and confidentiality, encouraging open and honest dialogue. It's not just about receiving reports. It's about understanding the story behind each one, creating a culture of integrity and respect. Transform your approach to anonymous reporting with Ethico. Begin your journey at ethico.com/CPN, where you can book a demo, access an exclusive white paper by Tom Fox titled The ROI of Compliance, and utilize our free ROI calculator.
In today's Compliance Tip of the Day, I want to take up preparing for your investigation. The first thing any investigator must do is understand the business environment and the extended business enterprise. It's really understanding what you're dealing with, who you're dealing with, the industry it's in, the potential risk, pressures, and motivations that might be at play for any investigation. Understanding that generally the most compliance investigations is that there is some pressure to do something because of something else, and there are other motivations. The next step is to quickly and thoroughly analyze the initial facts and circumstances related to the issues. Number one is the credibility of the complainant or the reporter, whatever you may choose to call that. What happened and what is the individual saying? Do you know the background of the reporter? How long have they been with the organization? Are they credible, etc.? Even at this early assessment, you should also consider the possibility of legal and financial impacts of the allegation. If you determine it is serious enough at the early juncture, you should always consider your internal crisis management team. If your organization doesn't have one, consider retaining an expert in these matters. Crisis management doesn't necessarily mean a crisis has happened. It means if you were in crisis mode, how does this impact the company? Both communication and collaboration are critical. Here, you need to ask a series of questions as what issues are on the table and who is impacted by those issues with the company. Is it the company auditors or some other corporate function? You should also consider third parties and contracted entities in this calculus by inquiring if any key suppliers are impacted by the investigation. Such a key supplier, if sole source, could be critical. Document preservation is always a critical issue and the one which the government regulators will pay particular attention to at the start of the initial start of the investigation and throughout. You need to take steps to ensure that all document is locked down. This means getting into the weeds on such issues as where your servers are located and are they secure. Once you have the information locked down, the government was going to want to know this, and you may need to perform an independent hypothesis to demonstrate this to the DOJ or other investigatory body going forward. As you know, this month's sponsor of the Compliance Podcast Network, including this podcast, is Ethico. Have you ever wondered about the ROI of your compliance program or had concerns with presenting budget proposals to your CFO? Well, I partnered with Ethico to write a white paper on the ROI of compliance and how you can think through compliance as an investment strategy. Ethico has put together a ROI calculator for you. Check them out on the website. This is Tom Fox again. This new podcast, Compliance Tip of the Day, will appear daily. And frankly, it's one of the most requested topics for a podcast that I get on a regular basis. It's going to be short and sweet with one tip with some takeaways that you can utilize to implement into your compliance program. If you've got a question that you would like a tip on, please submit them through our website, and we will use them in an upcoming episode. The compliance tip of the day is a production of the award-winning Compliance Podcast Network.